Try that again. Good morning and welcome to the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. We are welcoming our friends and family joining us via our Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Our theme for the month of March is the flow of coming and going, and it invites us to recognize that change is constant. Our topic for today, March the 2nd, is navigating the tides of life. And it reminds us that the world can feel like a sea of continuous changing tides. And of course, living here on the Monterey Peninsula, we see the tides going in and coming out at the bay, and if you're wherever you may be positioned closer to the ocean. So it gives us a visual reminder of the tides of life. And so the question we may ask is, how can I navigate these tides and stay true to my identity? Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook on page 257 offers this idea. Nothing can disturb or hurt my spiritual self. I am free and safe. All plans and ideas can wait until later. My mind is quiet, calm, and deeply still. My body rests in the still silence of the spirit. And so Science of Mind teaches us that we live in this world of constant movement, where life may feel like it's moving up and down or to the right and the left, or sometimes around in circles, or sometimes going in the reverse direction of where we thought that we were intended to go. With so much false information in the cyber world, can lead us to a false awakening of the ego, which is edging God out. The mental image or idea of who we are comes sometimes from our cultural and social conditioning. But the good news is that is not the truth of who we are. We know that there is one divine cause, one indivisible uniter. I think that's the word I'm looking for. There's a universal connection that is created out of this intelligence that we call God, and it is known by many other names. We may also know it as the principle of oneness or unity. It is the principle of interconnectedness, where we recognize that we're all really one, that we're all in this together, that we're on the same boat, and hopefully we're oaring in the same direction towards our particular goal. Celebrating the principles of Science of Mind also allows us to acknowledge other things that are happening in the larger universal setting that we find ourselves in. We are here at the Monterey Center celebrating and acknowledging the season for nonviolence. And today's reflection, as was offered earlier by Bobby Hall, is conflict resolution. We recognize that conflict is a natural part of relationships and being in community, being in family. Wherever we find ourselves, there is a potential for conflict. And conflict merely means that there are different ideas and different perspectives that are being brought to the table. And it's not the different ideas that creates the conflict, it's our reaction to those ideas. Not our response, but our reaction to those ideas that are being brought to the table. And so for today, just for today, I invite you to see conflict as an opportunity for creativity, for growth, and for collaboration. And if you're in a family situation, or if you're in a community, or if you're gathering other places outside of this little safe cocoon, practice that. Just practice it mentally. See whatever the seeming conflict is as an opportunity for creativity, for growth, and for collaboration. And in seeing that, what we're looking for is a win-win experience, not a win-lose, and not necessarily compromise. Because in compromise, there is sometimes a winner and a loser. In a win-win situation, Everyone's voice, everyone's idea, everyone's perspective is invited to the table. And there is a discussion around those ideas. And then the intent is to include those ideas into, it's like, I'm going to use a cooking reference. It's like making a pot of stew. Or for me, when I'm cleaning out the refrigerator before going to the farmer's market, everything that's in there that is still usable goes into a pot. And so this is how we can approach this idea of conflict resolution. All of the ideas that are on the table go into this pot. And as the flavors meld together, as we add some seasonings and spices, what results out of that is a delicious meal. This is the idea or a concept of win-win. March is also Women's History Month. And the theme this year for Women's History Month is moving forward together, women educating and inspiring generations. Women's History Month celebrates the powerful influence of women who have dedicated their lives to education, mentorship, and leadership. And this leadership is another factor that unites us together in this principle of oneness. Our brothers and sisters in the Muslim communities worldwide are celebrating Ramadan. And for Ramadan, it is a fast, it is abstaining from pleasure, and it is prayer to become closer to God. It's a time for families to gather and to celebrate, very similar to the principles and the teachings of Science of Mind. Also, on this coming Wednesday, March 5th, is Ash Wednesday. This is the beginning of the Lenten season for many Christian faiths worldwide. In this season of Lent, the focus is on simple living, prayer, and fasting in order to grow closer to God. Again, practices in alignment with our Science of Mind principles. New Thought communities invite individuals of all faiths and traditions into a devotional practice of fasting and feasting. And fasting is the practice of relinquishing thoughts, beliefs, words, and behaviors that stand in the way of peaceful living, authenticity, and meaning and purpose. So it's a letting go of those old ideas and false beliefs that no longer serve us, that which has come to an end. It's an opportunity to let it be at the end and not a continual stream. Feasting is a daily practice of engaging in thinking and ways of bringing to foster peace, gratitude, appreciation, compassion, personal growth, and transformation, and to be in service to others. Again, all of these are in alignment with the principles and practices of Science of Mind. And so as we navigate these ideas of life, I want to offer to you some Science of Mind specific practices that we may use. Starting with creating a pause. I'm sure you've heard this before. When you find yourself in a situation where you may be seemingly at a crossroad in life, pause, take in that breath before opening mouth and engaging foot, as I sometimes do. Grounded in the principle of oneness, we can navigate, using the pause, we can navigate life's ups and downs by centering ourselves and just being still and present in that moment. Pausing frees our thoughts from criticism or judgment, enabling us to flow into unity consciousness and become one and recognize our oneness with the whole. We remember to intentionally take a moment to pause and breathe when certain things appear in life, such as feeling like a victim. Everything bad happens to me. There's no way out. I've got to hustle for everything that I need. Things of those negative self-talk. Someone else uses my nationality, my language, the color of my skin, or anything physical to define who I am. Someone else's opinion of me is not the truth of who I am. Pausing allows us to recognize that we are the architects and the builders of our own lives. Pausing allows our thoughts to make us feel like a channel for the one source. And pausing also allows us to recognize that we are navigating where we are navigating blindly, driven by a desire or belonging to please others. This creates a new awakening. This pause creates a new awakening that becomes more than just a cry of protest against customs, institutions, and established rules. It evolves into a silent plea reconnecting us with our true nature and bringing us into harmony. And this is the goal of our spiritual principles and practices, is to bring us into harmony with all of life, to bring us into harmony starting with ourselves. Because when we are operating from that place of harmony from within, we live our lives from the inside out. You've heard me say this often. We live our lives from the inside out. So when we are at peace and at harmony within, that is going to be our natural expression outward. And we have tools that assist us, again, when we find ourselves at that fork in the road. Another practice we can engage in is to watch and listen in the silence. We talk a lot about being in the silence, spending time in this reflective mode. In our spiritual principles and practices class, we've learned that a principle is a rule, a belief, or an idea that guides our lives. It is something that can be outer directed. A spiritual practice helps us to center ourselves and to more easily live as our spiritual essence, physically aligning our body, our mind, and our spirit. So when we combine the principles and the practices of science of mind, we are bringing into alignment the mind-body-spirit connection. Sometimes we talk about this as it's three entities. And sometimes the mind likes to have these definitions to feel safe, to know what it is that we're talking about. But the mind-body connection is the totality of who we are. And so the practice of silent meditation and attunement are examples of spiritual practices. These practices allow us to carefully observe the noises invading our minds, starting with what we tell ourselves upon arising in the morning, what we identify with, and what we see in the mirror of life as we go about our daily activities. And this reminds me of a statement that is often quoted by Ernest Holmes, and it's found in other traditions, and that is change your thinking and change your life. So when we first wake up in the morning, what we tell ourselves sets the tone for our day. Be mindful of that. Be aware of it. Practice saying something good about yourself. Look in the mirror and say, wow, you are fantastic. And even if you don't believe it, saying it often enough, the mind creates that groove that starts to agree with that. And you begin to see yourself as fantastic, as this beautiful expression of the divine. Being in a state of stillness and silence allows us to observe what comes to our minds without judgment or criticism, bringing us back again into that place of harmony. And we find it easier to escape this bubble or box that we've created for ourselves and created in our minds. And then we disidentify from the false categories that we have placed on ourselves, or those false identities that someone else has placed on us. Starting from childhood, the big people that we looked up to are the ones that have a major influence on how we grow and mature. The way we are nurtured or not nurtured has an impact on us. Through studying the principles and the practices of science of mind, or any other faith tradition that affirms and recognizes our wholeness and our unity, allows us to break those shackles, to break those chains that have kept us in bondage, and move forward into this flow of life that allows us to be flexible and to move with the ebb and flow, to be aware when the tide goes out, to be aware when the tide comes in, and to respond. Eckhart Tolle says this: when you stop believing everything you think, you step out of thinking and clearly see that the thinker is not you. When we stop believing everything that we think, we come to this realization that the thinker is not me. The thinker is something that is greater than me, and it is that mind and that intelligence that I can tap into, because each one of us is an inlet and an outlet into the mind of God. And the final practice that I want to share with you this morning is flow. This word flow. And what does flow mean? Our energy flows and drains from our emotions and thoughts, creating a space for divine wisdom to live and to express in the oneness of our bodies. And this example came to my mind as I was thinking about flow. I have a water filter on my kitchen faucet, and a water filter, and it has a filter that lets me know whether it is still active or if it needs to be replaced. So when the light is green, everything that is active in that filter is working. And as the light becomes orange, that means it's time to consider getting a replacement. And when the light illuminates as red, it's like, okay, this filter is done. It is complete. It has done what it was designed to do. And now it is time to let it go and to replace it. The same way with other filtering systems in our homes or in our cars, or even something simple as cleaning the lint out of the dryer screen where you dry your clothes. If you want to have a flow, an even flow, you got to make sure that that lint filter is cleaned. And living in an apartment building where there is shared washer and dryer space, it is incumbent to make sure that that dryer filter, that lint screen is clean, so that the clothes dry in the manner that they are designed to. And then even bringing it more personal, making it really personable, the simple act of breathing in and breathing out is an internal filtering system. As we're breathing in, when we breathe in, we notice that the warm air is coming through the nose, coming through the nostrils, and going through those filters and those fibers. And that warm air serves as a cleaning agent for the filters that are within our nasal system. And when we breathe out the cool air, we're breathing out whatever the impurities are that have been in our bodies, and we're breathing these back into the atmosphere. And the oxygenation of the plants and the trees act as a cleaning filter to clean that out. So you can see how this is all integrated and how it all works together. Being in the flow allows us to listen to our intention. It speaks to us in the stillness of silence, and attunement helps us to nurture it. We listen to our hearts, we feel and allow ourselves to flow without the need to control situations or change the actions or thoughts of others. Now, this is a key point. Some of us, when we're new to this philosophy, new to this teaching, and we begin to embrace and embody the principles of science of mind, and we learn how using these principles and practices really change our lives, we become aware that there is more to life than just all of this negative distractions that comes in. We learn to identify the negativity and to release it, to push it to the side. And of course, we're all excited about this, and we want to share it with everybody that we know, especially our family that can test each nerve that we have. And the reason they can test those nerves is because we allowed them to install them. It's time to take away the control switch. And the way we take away the control switch is to just simply live our lives. We don't have to proselytize. We don't have to teach them. We don't have to send them a CD. And I'm dating myself. We don't have to send them the MP3 or whatever the newest version of the digital recordings are. We don't have to forward the Facebook notation to them with all of these. You should do this. You should do that. You should do that. As soon as someone tells me I should, I go, oh, and why should I? Give me one good reason why I should do something that you're trying to impose upon me. Anyway, we come to recognize that the life we live is the life of God, and that each person is on their individual journey, living their experience as the life of God. And it doesn't matter whether they believe the same way we believe. If they believe in God, or they believe in something else, or if they have no belief in a higher power at all, they're living an experience of life in this particular incarnation. And they're blessed. Each one is blessed on their journey. So if we can see one another as blessed individual expressions of the divine, then our energy flows and our emotions and our thoughts come into alignment with the truth of who we are. And so in conclusion, I offer this. This week, we have the opportunity to live from our higher unity conscious, knowing that within the hectic and ever-changing back and forth of life, we are always in the divine womb. This means that there is nothing outside of us, that we are not separate from life. We are actually life itself. And an action item, if you choose to practice it, is to take a moment, pause from what you're doing, and just be. Observe your thoughts. Remember who you are, the flow of God as oneness. Now I invite us to say together our affirmation for the week, and we'll say it twice. I flow in the sway of life. Let us say it again. I flow in the sway of life. And I invite us to turn within as we pray together. As I breathe into the essence of all that there is, I breathe in this life force, and I breathe out everything that no longer serves me, for I know that there is only one life, and that life is God. That life is whole, it is perfect, and it is complete. This is a life that we live as individualized expressions of the divine. This life that nourishes and supports and sustains, knowing that in this divine wound, everything that is required is already provided. And so in the stillness of my own heart, I speak a word of blessing for my life and the life of everyone who is in alignment and in attunement with the true essence of who they are. Knowing that in the silent spaces, in those rest notes between a musical score, those opportunities to listen to our intuition, to hear what is often called the still small voice, that voice that says, I am with you always, even unto the ends of the earth. I speak my word of gratitude this morning. Gratitude for everything that there is in this marvelous life. Gratitude for this spiritual community known as the Monterey Center for Spiritual Living. Gratitude for our centers for spiritual living worldwide. Gratitude for other places where people are gathering in the name and nature of the oneness. Recognizing that as we travel these paths of life, as we be with the flow, the ebb and the flow and the tides of life, then in our comings and goings, as we interact with each other, we interact with a smile. we pause to recognize the essence of life that is standing before us, knowing that the God in me sees the God in you. And we are one on this journey, living in this material expression, finding our way back into this place that is called home. And I speak my word of blessing this morning for individuals and families who are honoring those who have left this material plane and have stepped back into the non-physical, knowing that each time there is a memory, their name is called. We see a picture. We feel a touch. We feel an embrace. We feel the energy. However it is, that is where life lives on within those who are here left behind. And we really are not left behind because there is no separation between us. And I speak my word of blessing this morning for right livelihood and right conditions for everyone, especially those who are living without shelter by choice or by other circumstances which have made an impact on their lives. Knowing that right provisions are provided and that all needs are met on time and in time. And I bless those individuals and those agencies and the resources that are dedicated to serving our unsheltered brothers and sisters, creating a safe space for each one to live with dignity and respect. And for this and so much more, I am truly grateful. And I release this word back into that log which always says yes, allowing it to be. And if any of what I've said resonates with you in any way, let us affirm it together by saying, and so it is, and so it is. And just a reminder for those who are here in the center, we have a prayer chest that is located on our prayer table to my left and to your right. Thank you. That's why I'm not a dancer. We have a prayer chest here in the center, and I just am inviting you and encouraging you to use it. You know, allow the practitioners to be in support with you. You don't have to travel this journey alone. You don't have to travel this journey alone. And for those of you who are watching via Zoom or a part of our Facebook and our YouTube families, on our website, there is an opportunity for you to complete a prayer request form, and it goes into a confidential mailbox, which I have access to. And this allows us to be in a larger support to our larger community. And now it is time for us to participate in the flow of abundance and in the sharing of our tithes and our offerings. And I especially give thanks to those of you who donate to our center on a regular basis, on an ongoing basis. It is because of your generosity that we are able to provide settings like this. We're able to provide classes. We're able to offer book study and other activities that we have here at the Monterey Center. And we're able to maintain our online presence that lets the world know that this is the place where God shows up. And that place where God shows up is within each one of us. And we have an affirmation of abundance that I would like for us to say together. I recognize the presence of God within as a source of my abundance. Out of my abundance consciousness flows everything I could desire in life. With gratitude and thanksgiving, I now participate in the flow of uninterrupted abundance. This prosperous experience is evidence of my abundance consciousness. And while our usher passes the offering basket here in the center, Want to also let you know that for those viewing online, the ways to contribute to our center is via mail. You may mail in your donations, and that information is on our screen. You may text to give, and that number is 831-246-9694. And you may also donate online to our website at montereycsl.org. And I just have a few items to share with you in terms of our engagement and community connections. We invite you to visit our website for details of the events that are happening here at the center. A reminder that this Tuesday, March the 4th, is the last day to sign up for the current Spiritual Principles and Practices class. The class meets from 6:30 to actually 8 o'clock, 6:30 to 8. We discovered last week that because we are small in number, we don't need the full 2.5 hours. And so if it serves you to join us from 6:30 to 8, we welcome you. The class is being offered in person and online. And the online Zoom link is in our newsletter on our website. Sunday, March the 16th is our annual Monterey Center for Spiritual Living business meeting. We encourage all of you to come. The business meeting will take place immediately following service. We are asking you to bring potluck to share, and there will be some contributions that will be made to supplement the potluck. And it's an opportunity to learn the state of affairs of our community, to know what is going on, and to ask questions of the leadership, your elected leadership of our community. And it is also an opportunity for those of you, anyone who is interested in serving on the Board of Trustees. We will be presenting new Board of Trustee candidates to the community to vote on. And so if you would like to serve on the board, please let myself or one of the board members know. Our board members here this morning are Alex Castanos. Alex I know everybody knows Alex. And Irene Fosberg, who are members of the board, and myself as, and Amber, thank you. And then Georgia Devenu is viewing us from Zoom this morning. These are our board members, along with Reverend Cindy Harp, who is the president of the board. Let any of us know that you have an interest in serving on the board. We have one candidate that has submitted their name, and if anyone else has an interest, and as I shared with you last Sunday, if you are not currently a member and have an intention to serve on the board, we will create an onboarding process for you to meet the membership requirement and also meet the class requirement. So don't let that be a barrier. Also on March 12th and 13th, this is a Tuesday and Wednesday. This will be our Centers for Spiritual Living annual business meeting. Those of us who have been around, we know it is the convention, we know it is the annual gathering, we know it is the Vista Conference. It's had many names and many iterations. This year, the theme for the business meeting is Rising Higher and Growing Deeper, and it is free. It is a virtual meeting this year, and it is free to all. And the registration link can be found on the CSL website, csl.org. So we invite you to participate in that activity. And to our extended family on Facebook and Zoom, we say thank you for joining us today. And if any of this message resonated with you, like it, share, and make a 3-word comment, because that helps to engage the algorithm so that we get a wider exposure on Facebook and YouTube. And we invite you to join us next Sunday as we continue our March theme, the flow of coming and going. And the topic is the still small voice. How we listen to that still small voice within. And so we say, God bless you. We appreciate you. We love you. And we thank God for you.